one of the most unique isekais, well, modern isekais to ever be created, has made its return with third season. However, it's only going to have 10 episodes. And I think that's okay. If that's all you need to tell a story about stretching things apart, I'm okay with that and stuff. And not to mention, there's also a part 4 as well. So, man, we're going to be in it for a while, people. So, mine and the other character back, from Lutz and Benyo, the High Cleric, and the family. It's nice to see them all here. Because this isekai, to me, don't get enough praise as it does. Not to mention at the end of every episode, because it's nice, unique artwork of other artists just giving their support and love to the series. It's just nice to see. But maybe it's because it's not actiony enough. But then again, you don't always need to be actiony to be popular. You can also be heartwarming, well, good storytelling, character development. But yet, the show has all of that. It's not as popular as I wish it would be. It's a wonderful series, a good story, and it does something that most isekais don't do. It has more of that spice and wolf kind of feel to it, you know? It's not just about economics and business. It still has its economics, but also about, agriculture, where you learn how to make things, create culture itself, learning to do business, trade, in the dark side of economics as well. What people are willing to do to stay on top. They haven't had their hands clean, they stay on top for so long. So in this one, we learn things about becoming a Patron and the Ink Association. These are the two main things we learn in this episode. Let's talk about the Patreon thing first. I don't understand what it meant to really be a patron. I thought you just go to a store and you buy stuff. You don't automatically be a patron. But that term is being, in these modern days, are being used loosely. Any kind of words used without its true meaning now these days. But back then, a patron means you were a loyal customer. You invested into that other person. You invest into that employee in a way. Doing this blacksmith, Johann, for him to be a full-fledged blacksmith, he must be acknowledged by someone to be invested in his work. But he is so detailed, and you're like, wow, he's detailed. So why is someone like Johann having a hard time getting a Patreon? It's because, believe it or not, when it comes to rich people, when it comes to mass producing something, not just one thing, but mass producing it, they don't care about the details all the time. They care to get the product out and then just get out there and sell it. Sell, 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 sell. That's all they really care about. I remember I was doing some temp jobs where I was rocking around rich people and they're having their conversations telling about how they're trying to get a logo design done or this kind of bag or shirt made. Most times, they don't care about the details or how long it takes. They care about how fast it can come out, what price they can set for it, something to brag to about their other associates. Like, for instance, yeah, man, this dude somehow how detailed it takes, how long it's going to take. And he goes, well, I don't care, man. Just get the thing out already, man. I got money to make, That's all they really cared about was just how much they can get out there and sell, sell, sell. They can brag about it to their associates. That's all they cared about. And I'm afraid that's how it is when it comes to rich people, So you wonder why there's so much crap now these days with such, there's quantity but less quality of it because these buttholes in their seats are forcing the people who do want to do good work to just push it out there. So if you're being stubborn, you're starting out and all you want to care about is just detail, you're not going to get much patrons, which is Johann's situation. Luckily for him, he has someone like mine who needs a guardian, which will be Binyo, to help him become a Patreon. So yeah. She also, however, must mass produce for herself when she does the winter isolation. Because, her mana poisoning that's happening with her really affects her during the winter time. So she needs a place to go to in order to, to be safe, less emotional. And also agreed for the family to see her. However, else will be put off until when winter truly starts coming. Autumn is just now ending. However, the Ink Association shows up. And they found out someone is producing ink another kind of way and making a profit off of it. Now, you're like, so what? You see, back in the day, and even sometimes now, but especially back in the day, I mean, way back in the day, before your mamas, it was hard for people to do competition. It was hard for people to break a monopoly because in small areas, hell, even a kingdom, there's always that one person you go to who has the monopoly over a certain thing, a product, a skill, a job, whatever it may be. There's always those group of people who have a monopoly over it. You can't get many kinds of different kinds of clothing or different kinds of people to make your pots and pans and swords and stuff. You go to a certain person, you know, and even then, people are being stingy about who they give their product to, even if you do give them money. Name and reputation truly meant everything back then than it does now. Yeah, you have your brands. Most of the times, it's not much of a big impact. The brands stay for so long. You just buy the products for the sake of the brand and not the reputation. So when they found out that someone is nudging in on their territory, they get a little nervous. So they find any way they can to cut off the root and the source. So that way they can continue to monopolize on their business. They don't want someone like mine, especially hearing that she's just a little girl. They already went after Lutz in a way. Stole from the kid right there, you know. Something worse could have happened to him. Because stuff like this did happen. Way worse in the past. You know, kidnappings, murders, threats, all that stuff has happened. It was a lot easier to get away with a crime back then than it is now. We don't have that. They didn't have that kind of technology we do now to get away with a crime. You know, you can just do a little thing. People can catch you with cameras, fingerprints, witnesses, all that stuff. They can just pretty much get you now. When they came back then, there was no way to catch someone with their fingerprints. There were no cameras. Even if there were witnesses, people were too scared to snitch. So there's that big difference. So instead, mine has to go into winter isolation immediately. So therefore, nothing would happen to her. And that's pretty much the end of the episode. Of course, there's a thing the English Association is still not giving up, hoping they will find someone to perpetrate the church so they can still take out mine. So they're not giving up that easily. They want to make sure this girl's gone. So it shows the dangerous side of economics and business. So we're heading off to a good start, a really good start. And I'm glad the show is back. I feel like it's been a long time since I talked about this show. Man, it feels like a long time. So my ending thoughts is, one reason why I like this isekai so much is something that it does something that a lot of isekais do that it doesn't do. In most isekais, when you focus on one character, it seems like the entire world evolves around that one main character. It gets kind of obnoxious. You know, like, everyone won't shut up about him. No matter what scene it is, the conversation has something to do with that main character. And the main character, in honesty, is not even all bad. In fact, they kind of suck. It's just that they have great power, but that's it. My situation is different. Even though she has a lot of magical power, she can't use it. Plus, people want her for her brain. But then again, there's still other situations going on. You know, that everyone has their story that evolves around mine. People still have their own troubles, their own goals, their own ambitions they want to do. It doesn't always evolve around her. She'll be caught in the crossfire sometimes, but that's it. It does something that very, very few isekais should do. And that's make sure the main character is not evolved around the freaking universe. Because that's just bad writing in my opinion. Make sure your characters feel, more than just 2D. That they have their own problems they have to go through, their own story. So even though there's their own story there, and we don't have to go all the way through it, just the fact that we can take a little peek into that story will be suffice enough for me. And with that, I will leave for this episode. It was very good. Nice little start we have. Ah, man. Like I said, it's been feeling like a long time since I've saw this. So if you want to see more, like, comment, subscribe, and of course, hit that bell icon. This has Madcrownxox on anime. Signing out.